Okay, I think we're good. Everything's checking out on my end. How's it going, everybody? Alright, so it's Friday, and I think it was 2 weeks ago. Might have been 3. I hope it wasn't 3. But we'll say it was 2 weeks ago. We did another stream, and ideally what I'd like to do is every Friday we'll stream. So every other Friday I get off at work, which would be great to just do artwork streams. So that's the goal, at least try to do a couple hours until we can build it up, right? Like we used to do for the longer streams. And then the other Fridays, probably about an hour. We work about half day at work. So anyway, what we'll be doing today, and I might get pulled away from time to time, and it looks like the first stream anyway, will end probably about an hour to 2 hours, and then should pick up after that. So if you guys are interested, I mean, you guys can always rewatch these streams and all that good stuff, and feel free to ask anything like you guys normally do. What I'm working on right now, there's going to be a few things here. This one here is for a client who is asked to have, and I've done something like this before for people, where they ask to get their groomsmen designed as superheroes, which is always fun. It's such an odd thing to request, but it's pretty fun to do. And this was before I committed to do like the newer style that I've been doing. So if you guys are, I guess, fans, we'll say, of how I used to draw things with my anatomy, I always say it every time, my anatomy is not great at all. I always use the bubbly anatomy and all that. But if you're a fan of that, then you might dig this. All I'll be doing today is taking this to tight line art. The inks, I believe, I got to finish up tomorrow. So we'll see if we stream that stuff. But yeah, I can always show you guys if you're interested in that older stuff. So this one here, I don't think should take too long. And then we're going to jump back into Galaxies in Peril. We've got some backer reward stuff for that. One of the pledges people could have is, more design work, honestly, is having themselves designed as a superhero. So I had already done all the super rough concepts for that. And we got the feedback. And now I'll just be doing tight drawings of those designs. And that stuff will be drawn in my more recent look. More recent style. Hey, how's it going? I don't know why I keep forgetting, but I know you're home. So you always get to okay, I'm just getting, sorry, it's funny, I have to stream through this different site now, or not site, but I used to be able to just stream through a different thing on YouTube, and now I get to see different things. So it's saying that things are getting a little errory on my end. So yeah, if you guys just want to let me know, that'd be great. If it's getting too gross, I might have to adjust some stuff. Okay, let's keep going here. So this guy's pretty simple. He's a chef, and I just wanted to turn him into a superhero here. So his outfit is pretty standard superhero stuff. There won't be a cape on the design here. That was the other thing the guy wanted pulled. I feel like more and more people just don't like capes when they're superheroes, man. Get a little butcher's knife here. Actually, what I should do here is let me just put up a chef's knife. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Straight. They get little circles. Cool. Hey Lars, how's it going? Golden rule, yeah, no capes, right? All right. Yeah, Lars too. Thanks for letting me know about all that stuff for the iPad Pro. Like, I know I've talked about it a whole bunch. There's just something about it that I wish I could. I don't know what it's. I don't say it's missing, but like I use Clip Studio Paint in there, right? And I use. Let me just lower this a bit. I normally use Clip Studio Paint. It's not a big problem. It's just I can't get it to be as comfortable as my Cintiq, and it might just be because I'm sitting at a computer desk, you know? But there's got to be ways to get a little bit more comfortable for, I guess it'd be couch use. I know a lot of people do use it, you know. I don't know about necessarily on the couch, but yeah, Procreate. I was messing around with a little bit of that yesterday. I've used it before, but there's so many different things to learn with that software. And I don't really do comic pages anymore, right? It's usually pinup stuff. I'll do like the rare comic page. So I don't really care too much about that. But being able to like get something one to one on the iPad to here would be great because it just opens up the flexibility of being able to use it somewhere else, right? So that's why I normally use just Clip Studio, and it's been fine. But like with Clip Studio, it's like there's always so much UI, and I know I could, you can just tab it away, but like I like the stuff over there too. It's like this weird back and forth thing. Yeah, let's draw them out last. Yeah, it was definitely helpful, man. I do appreciate it. I'm gonna try this weekend to sort of just mess around with it a little bit more. Actually, let me take a look at this guy. How's his face? I apologize if you're the guy that I'm drawing and you're watching. I highly doubt it, but drawing realism with like realistic people and stuff, I'm no good at it. I don't like doing it. So I'm just trying to find certain things that'll, like cement things. So like I know he's got like, the big glasses and stuff, but he's kind of got this triangle shaped nose. So I'm making this guy clearly a little bit more ripped than he is. Right? Like he's a superhero, so you got to be a little bit more ripped. Let me just take a look here. I'm starting to feel a little. I don't like that at all. It's awful. Let's try it again. Sometimes what I've done, like with this guy's commissions for other people, is like I'll just take some liberties on some stuff. Like they might not look that way, but I'm just trying to get the images to look as good as they could look, and a lot of times you got to sacrifice, or at least I can't. I have to because I'm not that good at doing characters of people. So if you got to make some adjustments, you got to make some adjustments. Maybe it's the smile that was killing this one. Nah, let's give him a smile. It seems like I think maybe the smile is just making him feel a little bit more. I don't want to say dainty, but like this is starting to look more like a ballerina pose as opposed to like, like a superhero pose. Perfect for pinups, yeah. That you're probably pretty right on that. Let's figure out some anatomy here. I don't really do the Bruce Timm kind of anatomy on these pinups. Got a big old juicy tricep there. Could just be the way that this knee is up. That's making him feel a little bit ladylike. But yeah, here I'll bust this open for her. I know there's people that don't watch all of the stuff that go on all like that I post everywhere, right? So this I did yesterday on Procreate. One of the things I really dug is, I mean, maybe I know you can do everything in Clip Studio, but like my the line art here, like, I guess I can kind of get it similar, but I just felt like I was able to get like this fluid, like in the hair kind of thing that I haven't been able to do in Clip Studio, so that was good. But this is one of those styles too, right, where it's very Bruce Timmish. That like you get this shape, and then you just go ahead and you add all your anatomy inside. And I always go back and forth if I'm going that way, because normally the way I've been working, right, is just like line art, and then I'll do those inks over top. So it was interesting seeing just kind of like this being built up. The rendering and stuff is the same with how I'm working now, but this is something I'm dancing back and forth playing with. I get a little stuck when there's design for characters that are like not just anatomy, like a superhero, where it's just like I can make the shape, the outside shape, and then you sort of draw inside. So like this gauntlet here, maybe it should start popping out this way because he's wearing it. But in this style here, you're just doing like the contour shape, right? And then you're putting the design inside, so it works really well with that. So characters like think of not necessarily Iron Man, but maybe like Galactus, right? Where it's like you've got the helmet that goes out like this, but it's got interconnected pieces. So when you're doing that, like the Bruce Timm style, I'll say, right? Like I feel like I gotta worry about just the contour, like this. And then you kind of go in and you add all your stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different process. And I'm kind of going back and forth on penciling and then inking over top. More like an actual traditional workflow, as opposed to sort of like the last piece I just did there was the Ganon one. And thanks, too, for everybody that was sharing that and leaving some comments online with that. Like, wow, I really do appreciate that. I know it's Zelda stuff, so, people dig it, but it's always a good feeling when people like your stuff, right? But here, let me just back this one up here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So, the roughs are very much what I'm doing right now, and then the line art, let me just turn off all the inks. And this one might be a bad example. Yeah, this is actually an awful example because I was inking on the line art. Let me pull up another one. I think... did I do it with the Captain America? Let's see. Yeah, okay. So look at Cap. Cap's a good example. So it's just like this outline, very similar to what we're going to be doing, that I've always done with that line art style. You know what I mean? So it's that, and then we go ahead and we add inks over top. But it's just a different feel, right? Like that. I keep saying Bruce Timm just because of this line, but it's an animation, or it's just a traditional inking style where it's you're worrying about your thin to thicks as you're doing this sort of thing, and you're only worrying about like your major shapes, then you go in and add the detail. Where with this, it's sort of like I'm doing the detail and then adding shadow over top. I think it's fine either way. They yield a different result, but once the color goes on there, they're very similar, right? So it's like this, how do I want to draw? I feel like when I work this way, there's no pressure sensitivity, so there's actually no pressure to like make beautiful lines. It's just shapes and volume that matters, because I know once I add the rendering over top, it can ground it. But what it misses is like, I'll show you here, right? Like this is what it misses. So let's say, what do we got here? The inks. Yeah, we'll go with that. Like, so for Cap's arm here, right? Like I could get like a nice thicker shape here. That kind of thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like this energy, you don't get, at least with how I'm currently doing stuff. So that's what I was messing around with in Procreate, just trying to see how that feels and go from there. And I'm always torn because, like I say, this is a more traditional style of working, so I need to my roughs, like look how sloppy these roughs are, but that's all I need once I'm just putting tight line arts in. So it's like it's this trade-off, and that's the best part about art. You gotta just kind of mess around with whatever feels good until you start getting something that you like, I just love doing this stuff, though. Like going in here and adding like this. Okay, I gotta stop. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'll give him the big chest, even though he doesn't have it. That'll give him more of a superhero feel. Let me catch up with you guys here. Sugar. This kind of reminds me of when I was working in designing superhero suits for my friends for Prima Heart. Are you talking about where you're just adding like, it's just anatomy and then you add like some lines for a costume? Hey Justin, how you doing, buddy? I hope you're well. Lars, I need to let loose. I'm in a phase where I want it to look exactly like the person. It's so stressful. I've been there, man. It's full of stress. I was just about to say that maybe because you mentioned Bruce Tim like 2 minutes before, probably. Thank you, Skulldum, and welcome too, brother. I appreciate that. I can already tell with the amount of layers you have that the limitation of layers is going to annoy you in Procreate. It's the number one issue. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I will. Probably. I would argue too, right? Like I'm used to the digital workflow, like this stuff. So knowing that I'm able to use a whole bunch of layers, I do. But when I have to work with like traditional tools, like pencil and ink and all that stuff, there's no layers. So it's just a shift in mindset. To your point, though, knowing that another piece of software that I could still use on the iPad lets me keep the same workflow. I mean, it's huge, and yeah, I know. I'm gonna go back and forth with it. And comic comic book work aside, I don't know exactly where we'll land. It's more for why am I drawing it, right? Like since we're working at home now, I'm in the same spot all day long, and then at night when I'm doing some commission work or whatever, it's I just want to be in a different spot. This foot is what is going on with this foot? And I think that's pretty much what's always caused me to look at the iPad or anything like that. Because you want to be able to get a little change of scenery. And what Lars is saying there, like the pinups, it doesn't really matter too much. And I agree. So maybe that's just the switch. Like this right here, I would totally do on the iPad just to try it out. But I've already done a bunch of work for this guy, right? So, and I hate switching setups on people when I'm already doing work for them. Like people are paying you cash. You don't want to screw them over. I want to give them the best that I can give them. So I don't want to just go, hey, I'm going to switch over to this now. All right. So I'm just trying to tighten up, obviously, just a little bit of this. This isn't like, I guess this would be like, no, it wouldn't. I was going to say like tight pencils. It's not really that. It's still super loose. The line art stage that we do after this, right? Like we're going super tight with all that stuff. So you can tighten it up in that phase. Oh, this is something else too. I'll show you guys that I've been really getting into. Is like, okay, so when you do an arm, right? Like let's just do like just like that cylinder arm. I've been adding like this little. It almost looks like a bracelet, like Wonder Woman bracelet or whatever, but not to add any anatomy in there. Just like that's where all the veins and the bone and all that tendon crap would go in. But anywhere outside of it, man, you're free reign. You could go like that if you want to give them giant muscles, but we'll go here and then give them just like a little forearm bump right there. And what it does is it just gives it this cool, you kind of see it happening here. It's like this cool break in the eye. I'm able to just look at it and go, okay, boom, and then add some anatomy over here. I don't know. I'm digging it. I'm gonna bring his tricep up a little bit more, and we'll separate all that crap up here. There we go. Cool. I just want to make sure we get this center line coming down here. It's gonna be important. And I'm giving him a giant trap or lat here because you got to do it. Actually, you know what I wonder? Let's see if we can rotate this knife a little bit more. This might make it pretty funky on the hand side. Actually, yeah, let's keep it like that. Just to give a little bit more energy. I was trying to line it up with the arm there, but then you lose the handle. Yeah, I think that works. Just bring his finger up a little bit over here. Cool. Primal Heart is like this comic concept I have where my friends and I are in a video game. So I designed all of us suits based on descriptions of what we all wanted. That sounds cool, man. Hey, April, when are you starting that too, or is it just something you're slowly building up in the background? Lars, are you back with you? Yep, I am, thankfully. And the reason I had stopped drawing, the newer way that I'm kind of doing stuff now, is because I was let go when COVID first started, and I wanted to do what I could to bring in as much money as I could with art, and hopefully it could have been my transition to doing comic books or something, right? Because we needed to make sure I had income coming in for the family, and making such a big leap as changing how your art looks. Sometimes it's fine, right? But I knew I was able, fortunately, to make money off of how my art looked at the time. That changing it felt a little, what might be the right word here? Irresponsible. And then once I was asked to come back, thankfully, that's when I said, you know what? Okay, we got the money coming in again. Let's. I'm just gonna move this guy down. He's getting too close to the top. Once we got our money coming in, let's go back to drawing in a way that makes me happy, or at least to experiment a little bit, right? And so yeah, that's why we made the jump there. And you know what? What's really cool? Like I know I've lost some people along the way. They've let themselves be known. They've left comments and stuff, which is cool. I don't expect everybody to like anything anybody does, but I mean that's the point of art. But at the same time, the amount of support I've been getting from people too has been awesome. And I'm meeting some other people that I never would have even thought of it. Like, you know, yes, I'm ripping off Kirby quite heavily out of respect. You know, I'm not trying to cash in on anything, and I'm never going to compare myself to that man's greatness. But his design language and everything, it's letting me. I don't know. It's weird, man. It's kind of like. Do you guys remember? I don't know if you guys ever had this experience in high school or maybe even college. I would imagine maybe high school, where they're teaching you art, and they're like, okay, you got to learn how to do painting, you got to learn how to do pastels, and all these kinds of things. And I never wanted to do them. I just wanted to do line art. you know, I like video games and I like cartoons and comics. I got in a little bit later than those, so those are the main reasons I was getting into drawing. And so just being able to draw was the thing. It didn't really matter anything other than that. And then I never got to, or I never felt, I would say, that artistic feeling that you always hear painters get. Maybe some of you guys have this, and you're able to get it, and I wasn't. Where it's like this feeling of how do I want to say it? Like what is the word? It's not the creative energy or anything, but it's like that artistic voice, or they say like you make art for art and you put it out in the world and people receive it how they receive it. I would argue like the way I'm drawing right now is more, and this is just my perception of it. It's like commercial. I'm just doing this, or even what I do at my day job is like we need assets for a video game. I might like the game, but that doesn't matter. It's commercial art. It's not you know drawing nudity or violence or some political statement because it's art. It's a piece. There's a difference between an art piece and commercial art, sort of, if I'm making any sense at all. But anyway, what I'm trying to get to is working with this Kirby stuff, and it could just be because I'm trying to just absorb all the stuff he was doing. But the breaking the limits on like how anatomy should look and energy and all that kind of stuff, it's letting me be creatively free, I guess. And it's a weird feeling because I haven't had that. I mean, maybe I have, just not to the degree that it feels like right now, which is weird to say. Right? Like I feel like I could draw a guy right now and just put like some bonkers costume on him, or use here's a good example here, and I for the Doctor Doom drawing that I did, the background. This is gonna look like a classic Kirby background. I hope. You know. You see, oops. Here, let's just turn the color on so it's clear. I'll turn all the texture off. You guys see these like this castle whatever BS in the background? Like, look at these lines. They're not lining up to anything. It's just shapes. But in your mind, it might make a castle, right? Old me, no way in hell would I let this slide, right? Like, there needs to be some perspective ruler. There's something. It's off. Drawing this way, this is what I'm talking about. This is where it's like, I need something in the background because I want to sell that, like Latveria is in the background without drawing gigantic city structures and stuff. I can just toss this in the background and it still works, at least to me. And that's all that matters. And making the switch to this has been incredibly liberating. Like, even this weapon, I know there's some stuff I would definitely change now looking at it. It's been great, man. So that's what I'm saying. It's starting to feel now like I'm actually able to just use creative language, I guess, or whatever creative language I want to use at the time to sell something or to express something, and it's okay. And there's a reception for it and all that. Like, it's been cool, man. It's been really good stuff. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna be right back. Okay, guys, be right back. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Let me catch up. How do you pronounce that? Is it Sugarton? I want to say it is. Sugarton saying he's trying to work on the Primal Heart comic by at least the end of the year. That's your goal, at least. Well, good luck. If I can help you at all, just ask. But I know how hard it is to start working on a comic, especially a personal comic. So I wish you all the best. Lars, congrats, I guess. No, yeah, no, it is. It's a good thing. Trust me. I'm very comfortable having a day job and then working on art as a side thing. As sad as that sounds for some people, like especially artists, I think a lot of us, and I mean deep down inside, I think yeah, it would be great if I could just draw like this all day, every day for people. Sure. I think to a degree, I'm still tied to that day job lie, and it's not, you know, the people that I work with or my boss or anything like that that are saying, negative things or that make me not want to work there. It's a great place to work. But as an artist or even anybody, I mean, I think there's different scratches to be itched. What? Itches to be scratched. That's That's the way to say it. But anyway, having a job allows me to have a certain life as well, and it's hard to give that up, especially now that I have a family. It allows me to enjoy different things. So, and worse, we all know if you've worked on a comic book, right? Like that stuff takes a lot of time, and thankfully, I don't have to work that much to make an income. I think even working on my own thing and books for other people, even this requires a lot of. Here, let me just get this all out of the way. It's a lot of time, man, and the older I get, the less I actually want to just draw comic pages for 14 hours a day. And it's not just about money, but again, the older I get, the more money and time go hand in hand. And I'd like to do more of my own things in my life, right? That's just me. I feel like the younger you are too, the less that even really matters because you've got more time than you'll ever know what to do with. But anyway, Justin, John, did you ever finish JESOP? The only thing I finished with JESOP King was issue 1. Going back to what I was just saying, I didn't have. See, I don't want to say I didn't have, because you got to be honest, right? Like I didn't make time. That's probably the right way of saying it. I didn't make time to work on the other thing or like the following issue. Again, it was coming to the realization that I just wanted to do different things with my time. That's all. One day we will get back to doing comics again. Because even though they take so much damn time, it's the only medium, and this is the one thing I've always loved about comics. And I just want to make it clear too, right? And I do think it's because of the language I use, where people think maybe that I'm like a big comic guy. I don't read comics, man. Like I haven't read comics in a very long time. I used to get the Marvel Unlimited app. That's like the most recent comic stuff that I used to read. And I got that on the iPad, and that was a great reading experience too. But even the comics that I do read, I like the older stuff. I don't really like the new stuff, man. I like the old, Kirby comics and henchmen wearing suits and jackets, and maybe they've got like some really corny vest, or not a vest, but like color, just 2 colors, right? Like the AIM agents, where it's just like these dudes, right? Where they've got like that's their head, and then here's it almost looks like they're wearing hazmat suits. I like that kind of stuff. I just like the simplicity of the old stuff. But that's me, right? Like I think a lot of modern comic book readers, like superhero comic readers, you want a little bit more depth and some meat to your comics. So I get it. I just like different kinds of entertainment, to be honest. And like I said, comics allow me, or even when I work on comics for other people, it's just a creative storytelling medium that really focuses on the artist, and it just allows you to spread some wings that you can't really get in other mediums. And that's the main thing I love about it. Video games are what got me into drawing. That and cartoons like Ninja Turtles and stuff when I was younger. Power Rangers was cool. Just the stuff that I've always talked about. And the main thing I like about comics, maybe not just comics, but like whatever, but is like the design and the look, right? Like there's a comic art style. People look at it and they go, "Oh, he draws in a comic book style." There's something aesthetically cool about it, so that's what gets me excited about this stuff. And I'm sure most of my opinions will change when my son gets older, because like right now, after working at work, when I'm done, I've got some commissions and some client work and stuff, right? I always enjoy doing that. But, I want to spend time with my family. It's the whole point of having a family. For me, anyway. I know it's not that for everybody. So, you got to kind of pick and choose where your time's going. you know. And as much as I'd like to do JESOP King, or trust me, I've got a bajillion ideas that I would love to do. Not that they're good, but I'd like to draw them. I can definitely make the time to do them for sure, but the cost at doing those is giving up on other things, even if it is just playing a video game or watching a movie or just doing a pinup or a sketch, right? A friend of mine, Donald DeLay, I love the guy. He's a great guy. He's always motivational. He's always pushing me to get better and stuff. And he's got words of wisdom. Great guy. He'll always comment on a post or something, right? Like if I like the Ganon piece is the last one I just did there, and I put a little post out there for people while I was just working on the process of it, asking if people had any idea who it was, and like he was saying, and he's not the only guy saying this. I'm just bringing it up because he's on my mind. Was like the time spent to do that pinup could have been a panel in a comic, right? And that's what I'm talking about right there. It's true, but at the same time, the cost is that. So I'm losing out on the freedom, not the freedom, that might not be the right way of saying it, the experience of drawing a cool pinup that I want, just to draw one panel in a book. But at the end of it, right, you've got a whole comic book to tell. So it's back and forth. Right? It's just what you want to do. And there's no right or wrong. It's just what you want to do. And at the end of the day, that's really all that matters, right? Okay. Largest saying, I mean, aren't we all stealing from the greats? Yeah, in one way or another, you're totally right there. I would argue, just or maybe not argue, but add to your point there. Is I used to look at Kirby when I really started getting into his stuff, and I guess I don't want to just put it all on him. He's just the main guy that I've been checking out. A lot of the older guys, they're really good, obviously, but I think like now I'm just clicking more with Kirby than some of these other guys. But when I was maybe not when I was learning, but when I made the change in my art, like I used to draw anime and Breath of Fire 3 or 2, one of them, for Super Nintendo. No, it was for PlayStation 1. Just a video game. I just remember drawing and creating a story with those characters, right? No different than like what a lot of people do nowadays. And I used to draw just all that kind of stuff. And then, like I told you guys before, there's a Marvel artist that I ran into, and I started studying with him, and he opened up like Pandora's box of, if you want to do comics, you need to like check out these guys, you know. And I was aware of Jim Lee and all those. Oh, I don't want to say all those guys, but Jim Lee especially. Joe Mad, I got into him because his stuff I would say was closer to what got me into comic, or yeah, got me into drawing, which was like Street Fighter and Final Fantasy and that kind of stuff. So I resonated with that. I didn't even know about Joe Mad's work when he was on X-Men. That was before me even getting interested in comics, right? But the creative things that got me interested in that stuff, they were always there. Just I was looking at them differently. And then when I was instructed to check out other things like proper anatomy books and all that, being able to draw anatomy opened up so many other creative windows that I didn't have. And then I never really looked back at that other stuff because I don't want to say it was less than, but my drawing ability, drawing in that style was, I don't want to say weaker, but just different. And then this is where I'm super long-winded way of getting to it, but I always heard about Kirby, and I would look at his stuff, and it's old looking, right? Like even the coloring and that anatomy isn't that strong, and blah blah blah. So I would look at it and go, "Oh, cool! These crackles look really cool. Maybe I'll add that to everything." So I would start doing this kind of thing where it's like, let me get a big fat brush. Let's say this guy's got like an energy arm. I would, because Kirby dots take forever, right? And if you do this, that's cool. I'm not attacking you. Just I don't even have a brush for it anymore. But you know those Kirby dot brushes you get where you can just hold it and whatever shape you make and it just does like a bajillion dots. I would do that because that's what I saw when I would draw it, and that's what I got from Kirby. Like he did this cool thing and this really powerful design that works pretty much all the time. That's nuts, you know. And you start taking things from people, and that's how you get your style. That's just how it works. But I would say in the last maybe 4 years, when I started looking at his pencils, holy shit. I started going, you know what's really weird? When I was, and I'm not blaming the person that tried to help me by instructing me to look at anatomy books and look at like these comic giants and these greats, you know, like your Jim Lee, your Mark Silvestris, your Greg Capullos, all these cats. You know, when I was told to look at them, you see this stuff and you're like, oh my god, the draftsmanship is insane, right? Like, storytelling aside, like, this is good looking stuff. This is crazy. I should have been looking at Kirby as well. It's weird. It's kind of like when people say, look at, well, say Jim Lee, because he's always at the top that everybody knows, and you might not like his stuff. It doesn't matter. When you look at Jim Lee, you go like, that's how you draw comic books, right? And that's what you need to do. But nobody ever says, you know, like, you look at Jack Kirby, and you need to draw like Jack Kirby. Because he's old. It's an old style, you know? So people don't do it anymore. And I get it. It's probably not as commercial. And that's fine. That's totally fine. It was only for me pulling myself out of comics, I would say, that made me go, I want to draw like what this guy is doing. And it's funny. It's like this big, it feels like, I should say, a big middle finger to modern comic book drawing, I guess. And that, not to say that I'm attacking current comics. That's not where I'm trying to go with that. I just mean it's like the standard route of anatomy books you should be looking at and study that most people recommend that you do to get into comics, you know, like your portfolio and all that. I would imagine there's a bias, like if you showed up with like Kirby looking stuff, you know, they might just go, you know, all right, you know, you're kind of drawn back then style. We need to modern it up a little bit. We want more detail, more production. You know, we need to see details and everything. Remember, I told you guys this one. I forget where I read this. Somebody was saying, and I'll just say Kirby because he just sums up a whole genre of comics for me. But they were saying it was on Twitter, and it was like 2 pictures that somebody posted, and they said along the lines of like, so how were they able to draw, you know, 4 comic pages today, and comic book artists today, or they were drawing 4 pages a day, but in today's day, you can't even get a guy that'll draw 1 page a day. And it was this. It was as simple as this, and you know, I'll make it real crappy here. So I'm going to draw Captain America's boot because he's stepping on something, you know? He's investigating. He's tracked down the villain. Boom, there's his leg, you know? There he is, splash. He's got some water, you know? Maybe we got like his other leg in the background. He's running. You know what? I got some more time today. I'm just going to put some speed lines in there. Splash, 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 right? Cool. So that's how they did it, and you could do simple design. Nowadays, that stuff, well, maybe not. I just assume, just based on like what I hear and what I see, and how I like to draw too. There's nothing. That's just like, that's an old boot. It's a Legend of Zelda boot. You know what I mean? Captain America's a soldier, so he's got, you know. And I'm not gonna do it all, but okay. So he's gonna have his big tactical boot somewhere in here. We gotta have like a million shoelaces. We gotta have some pattern on here. And what kind of model boot is it? All right, well, he's gotta have those big like cleats kind of thing on there, and maybe he's got a big wrapped up there. And I mean, arguably this probably isn't taking as much time, but this is just like rough stuff, right? And splash. And, all right, let's get some over here, and all right, let's get this leg back there. So he's doing his thing, and what else could we have here? You know, like, oh, maybe on the ground here, let's do some texture work. Okay, so we got some dirt over here, and maybe there's a little grass patch over here. Anyway, you see what I'm saying? Arguably, I don't care which one you like. That's not my point, or the argument I'm making, but that's the difference. Is one is more detailed. They both tell the same story. What do you want to do? And I was definitely in that camp of like, well, it's my job to do the inks or the line art. I want to make it worth the person's money. You know, I want to make a great drafted or drafts. I want to have high draftsmanship in my artwork to show people, not maybe show people, but to tell a better story. And I don't think that's the case. I could look at this old stuff and it's still Captain America running. He's splashing in water. It's telling the same story. When I read comics, I don't know about you guys. I don't spend time looking at panels, man. The only time I would look at panels or I'd stare at something is when it's a character, and I was trying to redraw it or something. It's not, you know, like for me anyway. Personally, I didn't care about all the detail in there. I might look at something a couple times, you know, and go like, wow, that's really well drawn. You know, like, wow, look at the lines in the face, or I can't believe they. What a creative way of drawing something. That's cool. But anyway, so looking at the Kirby stuff now, it's just like I don't even care, man. Like he's given me so much in just letting me draw less to tell more, if that makes sense. And even the coloring that I've been doing, guys, like I highly recommend you guys try it out. Check it out. It's so sick. This right over here, I have a widget here. If you're on Patreon, you could get this too. You don't have to be on Patreon to get this. I think I shared it on Twitter. Doesn't matter. It's the DC Comics 128 color guide. Now, these are going to be super saturated. If you've looked at any digital comic that's colored like this way, everything's super saturated. It was printed on newsprint, right? So color would be washed down into like almost like a brownish yellow. So things weren't as vibrant. I like the vibrant. I've always been a fan of high saturation, so I don't necessarily care. But being limited in the color choices has, wow, it's opened up so much for me. I just heard myself say wow, and it sounded like I was doing an infomercial. Wow, you too can draw. But I don't know. All this is to say, and I mean, I know I'm just preaching to you guys right now, so whatever. But and I'm not trying to tell what you guys are doing is wrong or something. I'm just trying to explain my happiness and excitement going forward with. What do we want to call it? Is new style appropriate? I don't know. The way I'm able to draw right now has been extremely rewarding. And the reason why it's been rewarding is because I'm almost like, I don't want to say resetting, but I was going to say, it's not even resetting. It's just sort of forgetting, or maybe not forgetting, not caring. Is that the right word? Some of the restrictions I put on myself by following other supposed things that I'm supposed to do when I draw. Does that make sense? Like even right now, because the way that this commission was supposed to be anyway. Oops, that's wacky. Is like the anatomy of this leg. It might not be great. I get that. I never once praised my anatomy to be anything special, but like there's still certain rules that this needs to work for a foot. If I was doing this in how I'm working today, with that look, oh man, it's more about, does it tell a cool story? Does it work that way? As opposed to people knowing I can draw a real cool anatomy, anatomically correct figure and stuff. I just don't care about that stuff anymore. Just for me. And I think it's just I'm going back to that. And this is, wow, what a really long way to circle back. But when I was talking about how when I used to draw, it was like anatomy or anime and stuff like that. Arguably, when I would look at that stuff, it's not, the best art, but it's what got me interested in drawing, and that's really all that matters, is what gets you interested in drawing. And to be fair, if you're getting paid or if people are coming to you to work on stuff and they want to throw money at you, that definitely does help your creative decision for sure. I don't want to just make it sound like just do what you want and screw everything else. Although ultimately it should probably be that. For long-term happiness and health and art, it should probably be that. Unless you just love money. Okay, let me get back to what you guys are saying here. And thank you guys for all the comments. I apologize, it takes me forever to look over and read them. I am trying to space out how often I'm looking at the chat. That way I can make sure I'm getting work done. Hey, JESOP. Back to what Lars was saying there. I like the background. I finally worked up my patience to draw backgrounds, but I still hate it. Shogaton, I personally pronounce it as Shogaton. Oh, Shogaton. Okay. I'll say Shogaton then. I'll try to remember. Down, buddy. I don't know. It's kind of like I would so much rather just be able to draw singular drawings, but I have this strong urge to just be able to tell my stories, I guess. I'm not sure how to describe it. I think I know what you're talking about, and it's one of the things that makes comics so good is from a creative standpoint. I mean, you can do it with animation. You can do anybody. You can do anything solo just by yourself. But with comic books, I find anyway, at least the people I've talked to and my experience with it has been most artists are storytellers in some way. So it's not a far stretch to just write something. Arguably, it might not be that good because you might not be a talented writer. Doesn't necessarily matter because you can just wing it and people will like it anyway. For the most part, you might not get like mass audience appeal, but sometimes that doesn't even really matter. Most times that doesn't even matter. It helps the self-confidence for sure, but just making your own thing, sometimes that's enough. Lars, the only new thing he reads is Dragon Ball Super. Euro, hey, welcome back, brother. Haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you are working well. I'm working on a commission for somebody. All of his groomsmen he wanted to be designed as superheroes. So this guy is a chef, I guess, so he is a super chef. Naturally. As you do. Justin's more into manga these days, to be honest. That's where my taste went to. They went more into the manga direction. Lars, you never talked about Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers before. Who are they? Oh. Who are they? Yeah, okay. I'm not going to jump into the whole thing, but everybody knows who the Ninja Turtles are and Power Rangers. But Turtles was great because I think, if I'm remembering it correctly, my memory is foggy of when I was younger, but our mom used to... Let me just get a new line right here. She used to like grab stacks of printer paper and fold them in half and staple it. Then she would open it up and she would go like this, right? Like so. Let's say this is 8.5 by 11 folded in half with 2 staples or even one. And what you do is you just grab a pen and go like this. And go, okay, so what happens in the story? Like short form. So you say the Turtles attack Shredder. So she'd write Turtles attack Shredder over here. And you keep going. This is actually oddly funny because I know this played an interest in comic books for me being into them when I was younger. And I'm going to do this with my son too, if he enjoys it. I know my brother did this. I don't know if he remembers this at all. So she would do this for I don't know, maybe 6, maybe 12 pages. I don't know. And then she'd give it to us. And then it was our job to draw in here. It was such a creative way to get your kids to shut up, be creative, and play in their imagination. This is perfect for that. And I remember getting different colors, right? I'd go, okay, so we got Leonardo, and he's coming up, and that kind of stuff. That's why Ninja Turtles resonate so much with me. I remember doing this stuff, getting coloring books of Ninja Turtles, going to a photocopier at my dad's work, and cutting out the Ninja Turtles from the coloring book, putting them on the photocopier, staging them in a way, and hit copy, right? And then that would make a brand new coloring page, really, right? And then I would just write stories on there. So I'm totally aware of certain things guiding me to a direction of maybe not just comics, but just storytelling, just that it's fun. Not necessarily that I'm any good at it, but that it's fun. And the fun is what makes you interested in it as you get older, in my belief. As you get older, because you want to turn it into a job, or that you realize you might be able to turn it into a job. And jobs are serious, right? If you want to make money, you're competing with people and blah, 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 blah. The downside, though, and this is what I'm returning to now, at least it feels like it, is that when you start focusing on making something serious and legitimate because you want to turn it into a job, career, blah, 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 is it starts to lose its fun. You start making business decisions as opposed to creative or just because I'm a kid fun decisions. Do you know what I'm saying? There's a difference there. But anyway, so that's why Turtles is powerful to me, because it has a rooted feeling in something else. Power Rangers is different. Power Rangers is, I think I was a preteen at the time that came out. Mighty Morphin. I never seen nothing like that, man. Robots, they're basically superheroes to me, right? Everything's a superhero when you're in the West. When anime really wasn't coming around here, you really had to work for that, or if you even knew about that. Just it was a different time, man. And but Power Rangers was so cool. Everything about it was cool. It was basically like a teenage drama story. It was like Saved by the Bell meets I don't know. Saved by the Bell meets what? What the hell am I doing here? Oh, here, let's go with Anyway, Saved by the Bell meets like X-Men. I don't know. It just felt something really weird like that. And it was cool. I remember us all going outside and playing with neighborhood kids and stuff like that. My brother and I, we rented a camcorder from like a video game store when you could rent those things. And we used to make home videos of Power Rangers. Like we would record the music from the show on a ghetto blaster. You just hit record and it would go onto a cassette. Then we go downstairs and now we had a soundtrack. Like in my mind, we were doing some stuff there that's like pretty. I'm not trying to float boats here, but like that's some creative stuff for some kids to be doing, I think. So anyway, I got that's why I'm attached to those properties. It's not necessarily that they're just so awesome that it's like I don't know. I think you just resonate with certain things. There's the same reason you like movies or video games when you were a kid. There's reasons. It might not just be because they were awesome and they were the greatest storytelling thing at the time, blah blah blah. But you usually got like an emotion to it, you know. Hey, yeah, I did hear Joe Mad's doing Battle Chasers again. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a different artist doing the interiors, and that makes me not care. I like Joe Mad for his art. I don't like necessarily I don't like Battle Chasers because, and I don't want to sound rude or anything, but to me, Battle Chasers isn't like an amazing story. I like it because it reminds me of things, but the glue is his artwork, and if he's not drawing it, I really don't care. Like I played the video game and I didn't have the same attachment to it that I did when I read the comic books because some of it was Joe Mad's art, but then some of it really wasn't. And the stuff that wasn't, it's just not for me. Sugarton, there you go, embrace it. Hey Nimrod, how are you, buddy? How you feeling? How's the leg doing today? Gladman Comics, welcome. Hey John, glad to see you streaming again. Thank you. I know we've been streaming for how long now? What's it say? I don't know, an hour? Yeah, an hour. And I said at the beginning, but I'm trying to get every Friday to do my streams. I get every other Friday off at work, so I make it a full work day. For like this and commissions and projects and stuff. So I'm trying to stream that. The other Fridays, I get half a day, so I might be streaming for like a half hour or maybe an hour, but we'll see. The Fridays that I have off so far, I'm trying to designate them, and I'm trying to be loose about it. I don't want to commit to it. I'm just saying that I'm doing them, and seeing if I can get a routine. Once I can get life adjusted to it, then I can start, hey guys, come meet me on Fridays at this time, blah, 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 and we'll have we'll do some streams. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate the support there. Mutt, how's it going, buddy? I like your name. Tony Airblue, love your new style. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Flattery. Mutt, who is this character? This is, I don't know, well, he sent me the guy's first name. I really won't repeat it. This gentleman here, he is a groomsman for the guy who's commissioning me this. He wants all of his groomsmen to be superheroes. And this guy is a chef. So, it's got to be a superhero chef, right? I loved Battle Chasers back in the day. Without Joe Mad, it's not interesting. Okay, cool. So it's not just me. All right. I always feel like an asshole, too, when I say that, too. I don't want to... Joe Mad has done a lot for me. I would also argue, I'm talking a lot about Jack Kirby. What Jack Kirby's giving me right now is what Joe Mad gave me when I found him back in Battle Chasers. Again, I wasn't even aware that he was doing, what the hell? I wasn't even aware that he was doing a book called X-Men. I feel like I always have to say this to people because maybe I don't need to, but like I didn't grow up loving comics. Like I didn't collect them. There were some cool things in them, but they were at a store that I used to go to for personal reasons to get out of home, so I didn't have to be home all the time. It was a comic book shop, but they sold like card games and stuff. That's the stuff that got me into it. And comics were around. That's really what got me into it. And then as I got older and, drawing, I don't know about you guys, but drawing's pretty fun. And if something's fun, you want to be around it a lot, And so I would just flip through comic books. That's what got me into that stuff. It's not... I know some people, their passion is comic books because they remember growing up and collecting here's the first issue of this and that. I like comics for a different reason again, and I'm going in circles with that stuff. Lars, will the streams be around this time? Because yeah, they will be. So My workday is from 8 to 5 with like a break for lunch somewhere in there. Today's a little mixed up because we've got some life stuff we got to do. That's what I'm saying. Probably got about half hour, 45 minutes left, I would say, before this stream one, we'll say, is done. And then I should be streaming again later in about 4 hours, 5 hours most after that. But yeah, ideally it'll be around this time for, I don't know, 6 hours, 8 hours. So we'll see. The best comic artists are cartoonists. I'm not into comic art that looks like real life. See, we all got different tastes, man. That real life stuff is what I would say. Once somebody gave me the ability to be able to draw real life superheroes, I was in it, man. I was like, oh, this is. It was like I just unlocked this new skill, a way to communicate. But then, I would argue too, like, you know, I haven't worked at Marvel or DC or any of these bigger places, so my reasoning is skewed, but I haven't had to work every day for these companies. I've wanted to, but I haven't. So it's like my reasoning for wanting to draw for these people has changed, right? So like drawing how I'm drawing right now, I would say is what I would normally pitch to those companies. Never got hired, which is fine. I'm not complaining about that. But since I'm not working for them, it's like, well, why keep pursuing that kind of look? Go back to that stuff that was that got you excited to draw. What when you look at something, does it get you excited to draw? That's really what it comes down to. I gave up that a long time ago, or I gave up on that a while ago, and that's why I'm returning to this stuff. But again, that's most likely what I'm talking about here, right? Where it's like, that's my fault. Nobody was telling me to do, well, I was listening to recommended advice, so that is my fault. But at the same time, I wouldn't change anything. I'm happy where I'm at. Yeah, looks like you're right. Lullaby. Is that his lullaby? I can't read, man. He's doing the art, but I gotta say he's perfectly emulating Mad's style when adding his own twist. Yeah, no, he is. Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I'm glad you're liking it. And trust me, if there's more battle chasers, and just I want everybody to succeed in any creative project they do. I never want to take anything away from people. I think I told you guys too back with the Ninja Turtle stuff, like the Michael Bay things, right? Like I've made that decision even with the Star Wars stuff, right? Where it's like it's not for me. I had my fun with those things. The new stuff, it's clearly not hitting with me. That's okay though. If more people like this stuff, then that means there'll be more things. Like even Transformers, all that. If it's successful and more people can get interested in it, like I was just gushing a little bit about Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers for the reasons I said them. So I'm going to have attachments to these things, right? Just because they're not like that anymore, that's okay. It sucks. It sucks for me. But if people dig it, then hell yeah, good for them. I would be so lucky as to make something that had people so interested in what I was doing with it that if I didn't do something they liked, that they got upset. You know how hard it is to make something that people just love? That's crazy. So. Alright, I think I'm done with this one. I think we're going to go on to the next thing now. Okay, so just so you guys know, I don't think... I got to check my calendar. Maybe we'll get back to this later today. I've got two more, I think. Let me check. What do we got on the plate today? Okay, no, we're doing lines and inks. What is this? I got something I'm supposed to work on, and I don't even remember what it is. Where are you, buddy? So I'm supposed to be doing inks, lines, and colors on what? Oh, yeah. Okay, so if you guys are interested, we're going to be doing a... Well, we're going to start, and like I said, the stream will die. Then it'll come back. I don't think I'll finish this in time. Maybe. The new style that I draw in is actually pretty fast. Another highlight that I like about it. It's somebody's character, so it's like a pinup. I've got quite a few things going on here, so I got to just double check just to make sure. But it's in the new style. So if you guys like the new look and stuff, you guys will get to see it from the ground up during a stream. Finally, eh? We don't get to do that enough. But so this guy, let me just here. I'm gonna save it. I'll show you guys what these end up looking like. Okay, because I know people like stuff, right? You guys like stuff. Sorry, let me catch up with you guys here before I jump right into that. Euro, you know what, man? Maybe I should just replay the Battle Chasers game. You're making me want to replay it. Did I ask how Eliza is? No, I'm glad you guys had your wedding. Congratulations for you guys for your wedding anniversary. I thought you posted on Facebook you had restless leg. I might have misread that, so I was just asking how your leg was doing, if it was okay. Lars, I just need. Huh. Are we still here? I think we're good. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. I think I got this is kind of cool. I'm not used to the new YouTube setup for streaming, so it's letting me know that my bit rate is just getting destroyed. So I had to restart the streaming thing. So I'm wondering if it kept it going. I hope you guys are still here. Maybe the recorded version will still have this stuff. I don't know. Anyway, what was the last thing we were just talking about? Oh, right. Is that it was never my intent to turn this channel into anything other than a place for me to make sure I was drawing. The very first video I ever did on here was art journal stuff. There's tons of art channels on YouTube where it's production values everywhere. You know what I mean? Just doing special effects, clipping, editing, and all that. The best you'll get from me is a sped up version of a video. Maybe I'll narrate over it. That's all it is. So I'm pumped that anybody comes in here at all. So I understand why people have left and why my channel goes down and people don't watch it and stuff. And I've turned off any kind of ads. You guys shouldn't be seeing ads at all anymore, right? So I found out recently that if you don't have ads on your video, YouTube doesn't push it like it used to. So I'm fully aware that it's never going to be like the good old days. But I'd still like to do that, post content and put some streams up for those that are interested. You know what I mean? But yes, I do miss the old days when some of the familiar faces were always coming back in and all that. And to be fair, I don't have the time that I did back then. Back then, it was just my day job, or I had 2 part-time jobs at the time. So I'd go to work, I'd come home, and I would just be drawing anyway. So I would stream all day, every day, or random weird times. Now I got a son, got a fiance, right? And maybe we'll have a second kid at some point. So it's not like time is just going to magically show up. It's going to get worse before it gets better, that's for sure. Let's see what we got here. No data again. Why is it saying no data? I don't know. We'll see how this is going. It's saying no data. Well, I've been a fan of yours since 2010. Daniel Ortiz, welcome. I remember the name. It's nice to see you again. Do you still work at that video game company? I do, yes. I work at a company called iDream Interactive. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that time lapse thing is pretty sick. Okay, right. So let me show you guys the Groomsman stuff here. Okay, so what's the lot? Nah, let's just do the first one. Showed it before, but it's simple. You get it. You understand it. The realization that I'll be 30 by the time Alexander turns 15 still haunts me. Hey, imagine my age, right? I'm almost 40. I've already thought of it. I might not see that kid past 30 or 40 if I'm lucky. That's scary. That breaks my heart. Makes me real sad. So trust me. At least you'll be here, and I hope you guys will be close. I do. I honestly hope that. Because I know what it's like. Your dad and I, we have cousins that we don't even talk about or talk to, right? So I don't even know if you still really talk to your cousins at all, but we've had this conversation before. Our family life is very small, so anybody being a part of it is healthy as long as they're nice people. We don't have some nice people in our family, so it's good to have some good people. Anyway. So this is what it's going to look like, right? So we're here. What we're going to do is, let me just step right here, right? So we've got right here. This is all I've done is the line art. And then, so what I'll be doing, I think tomorrow, pretty sure tomorrow, because I need to do 2 of these a month now, is putting the inks. This goes super quick. This one has a more fancy background. This one's just like a color explosion, thank God. And then we just color it up. Now this this might seem like a wow, what a giant leap, you know. Watch any of my videos. I hope the way I color doesn't confuse or seem crazy to people. It's not elaborate. There's nothing magical about it. It's very simple stuff. How I color right now with my current style is the same way, right? Like, just for those that are interested. Let me turn the line art on here. There we go. So what I do, especially in Clip Studio, I know there's videos you'll watch about people that are doing like perfect flats and stuff like that, where it's like there's no holes in your flat shape and stuff. Let me see if I have. Okay, maybe I cleaned it up in here. Normally it doesn't look as clean as this. There'll be like white gaps and stuff. Normally I honestly don't care, because whenever any of these things get printed, you don't see any of that stuff anyway. I've never seen it, so I don't even care about it. If I was giving it to somebody else, yeah, okay. But if you're working for yourself, it really doesn't matter. I don't do selection holds and stuff like that. I'm trying to make this stuff as simple as possible. So all you do is, so I've made a shape, right? And it's this shape here. I just picked a color that he might be, and it just happened to be his skin color. Cool. Then you just make clipping masks, and all that is it's a new layer. And up here in Clip Studio, it says clip to layer below, or you can hold in Photoshop, I think it's Alt or Control, and it'll make like a little arrow between the layers. And you see how mine's got like a little red line? That means it's clipped to it. If I turn that off, you'll see it spills out. But when you turn that on, it clips it in, right? So all I'm doing is now I just go through and just chunk in colors. Not that hard. Anybody can do this. Now, the magic, obviously, yeah, is picking the right colors. That's a different thing. That's something, you know, the more you do, the better you'll get at. Yeah, and then I just make a multiply layer with a color. What color is this one? It's like a gray. I normally don't pick gray. I normally pick like a purple or a blue. And then I do it for these ones in particular. This is the step that I don't do. But then I just do another layer, the exact same color, and multiply on there too, just for deep shadows, right? And then I just do a layer, the exact same thing, except I put a mask on it. And then I do another one here. So just so, I'll give you an example here, right? Let's say we want bright white. And we're going to do like some crazy highlight here, right on this side here. So I'm just going to draw like this, okay? Nothing fancy. Just like a rim light. I mean, you could go in here and make big, solid, chunky shapes too. I don't have the confidence to do this, but you might. And then what you do is you just put a mask on it. And then all you're going to do is erase. And all the mask does is it... I'll show you. I always have a hard time explaining it, but you just kind of like that. You just lightly erase it with like an airbrush. And you see how it turns it into almost like a gradient, right? Like a fade. And all it is, can you guys even see this over here? Yeah, you can. I can hit shift and turn that on and off. So what it does, it always preserves the quality, right? So like I might go, you know what? Maybe I went too much with this. So I can just draw back in with like black. Oops. Photoshop you can. This it's a little different. Yeah, I'm just gonna drop back in. So that's what that lets you do, and that's it. That's really all it is. And then the other things I add are like some color balance layer, and that makes it a little bit more magical. And I might do something else, but primarily that's it. And this is the exact same way I did JESOP King. Ever since I've gone this way, I've just committed to it because it's quick, it's easy, it's simple. It's not as beautiful as other people that are going to do a lot more polished stuff, but that's okay. So anyway, that's what this is going to look like when we're done. Okay, so let's close that up and let's get the next thing that we're working on here. Mutt, I just discovered your art because I'm a big Kirby guy. Okay, cool. See that I'm attracting all these Kirby fans, so they're gonna find me from that stuff, and it's just gonna be I'm the biggest Jack Kirby ripoff. I'm okay with that though. I'm okay with that because I have such fun drawing it, so it's cool. I recently asked you for some work on my... Oh, you did? Okay, I think on Twitter, I did reply to you. Twitter is weird for me, man. Like, it just doesn't... If we're not friends, it won't notify me that you sent me a message. So a friend of mine, luckily, sent me a message yesterday, so I was checking it up, and all of a sudden there was like 6. And I'm like, message request. So I wish I would get a notification. I got to make like a note or something to check Twitter like once a week or something for private messages, because I don't want to miss out on things. It always makes me sound like I'm ignorant and I'm like too busy or too cool to reply to people. Euro, we know your tricks. When I get a car, I want to take him on little trips to pick up his presents and eat at places. I'll be the awesome cousin that I never had. Hey, that actually warms my heart a lot, April. So I do appreciate that, and we'll try to do everything we can to help with that. Okay, because yes, I wish I had cool cousins as well. And I mean, I know you don't have brothers and sisters too, right? So, and he's gonna be super younger. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. But obviously, yes, you'll never be turned down for that stuff. Oh, my leg. It's more. Oh, no problem, man. Yeah, I'm sorry. I hope it does get better. That does sound awful. Okay, guys. Well, okay. So we're gonna jump here. Just let me read something here. Okay. So it's like I said. Actually, here. You know what? Here, I'll show you guys this because you guys get a kick out of this stuff too. Okay? Because we don't always just do artwork. So I use a piece of software called Todoist. I've talked about this before. This is what I use to plan stuff. There's a free version. I think I have a paid one. I don't exactly remember why. It might be for notifications. I also just found out a cool way that I'm able to sync this up with my Google Calendar. So I'm loving it right now. Actually, here, let me just minimize it a little bit more so you guys can actually see it. I always forget that my screen cuts things off. Yeah, that should be good. Cool. And you can put a whole bunch of things. Doesn't really matter. All I worry about is I have something in here for art and freelance. So inbox are things that are like just ideas to do. For those of you that don't know, those chibis that I used to do like once a month or whatever, I would very much like to get back to them. They're like my number one selling thing on Etsy. Probably the best prints that I've ever been able to sell through there have been these little chibi characters of a board game of all things. So I really want to make sure I get back to them. So I just put little ideas in here. Waiting are things that are like in progress, right? So like here, reply. That's probably a Twitter reply that I need to get back to. These are Patreon people with like things inside that I need to do, right? In progress is the things that I'm doing, right? Actually, so here, let me click on there so you guys can see, right? So we got a whole bunch of things. We've got, yeah, so my inks and color are due tomorrow. So line art, boom, we'll click that, done. We just finished that. Very cool. Comments, you can keep all your stuff in there, blah, blah. But most people, well, I don't know. If you guys are able to get a whole bunch of clients or just ideas, I think it's really cool to have them in a way that you can, what I like about this is I can drag it around wherever I want it. You can organize it. You don't lose track of things. Very good. Very good stuff. So the one we're working on in here is this gentleman's stuff. So we've already done stuff. We sent stuff out for approval. So today we're doing an entire piece. We've got this. Now, I just want to see what he said here. So this is why I was just showing you guys. Because I have so many moving pieces, I need to keep track of certain information. Like, I don't know how this is. I usually do two kinds of commissions for people. 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17. It's good to know. So bronze tiger is my Bengal tiger scheme. So I think I may have started something for this. Anyway, okay. So we got that, and he gave me the reference and all that. So that's what we're gonna be working on. Let me just move this back over here. I think I showed you guys something like that before when we were doing JESOP King. Okay, let's see. The thing I had for JESOP King was awesome, man. Like, it was like a spreadsheet where I would punch in the hours it took to do something, so it would give me like an average time. That was huge, man. Because it let me plan out my week. All right, yeah, okay, so here we go. We got these ones. You got the Bengal tigers, because you got to have a Bengal tiger. Well, thank you, Mutt. I'll definitely, man. We'll figure something out. Don't you worry about that. And I appreciate you coming back into the stream here to let me know as well. And if we do get to work together, I hope whatever I do just knocks you out, man. That would be my goal. You know what? There's been a few times, and I think maybe everybody's done this, where you get commissioned to do something and you send it to the person, and they don't respond, or you don't hear back, or you ask like, do you like it? And it's like, yeah, it's good. Damn it, damn it, I didn't do it. You want to always be able to get somebody, give them something cool that they just love, And I'm not trying to just make this sound a little bit more highfalutin than it is, but it's nice to be able to just knock something out for somebody. All right, so here we go. We got this. I feel like I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I want to be able to finish this. I think 11:30 is my cutoff, so I'm looking at like 50 minutes right now. I know I'm talking a lot, so I don't know if I'll be able to finish this during this stream. But like later today, in a few hours after this, we'll be back to be able to finish it. By the way, we finished our campaign and your NPC artificer. Oh yeah, okay. He actually survived, eh? That's great. That's hilarious. I've been playing Iron Sworn a lot, dude. Have you played that at all? Okay, I don't think I left the guy's reply. Give me 1 second here, guys. I gotta check my my email. Laughing. I just wanted to see what he said. I dig the profile shot. Okay, so we're doing that one. All right. That's the thing. I forgot to include what the hell we're doing. Like, which one did you pick? So we're going with this one. This is the one he liked. Similar to A, but more of a profile shot. All right. So what I do is I just going to take that whole reference folder and just pop it in here. Right? So we got all that juiciness. And we're going to rock this out here. So the color that I have here too, I just want to say, I usually deviate. I like to just put this in here to sell it, kind of like what I'm thinking it could be, you know. So we're going to put thumb, because it's a thumbnail. Boom, paste it in there. And we're just going to fill her up. So I'm going to make sure that we leave a lot of room here for some stuff. Maybe we'll rotate some stuff. What do you think? I kind of like it like that. Clean this up. Make a new folder. We're going to call this one lines. Actually, no. We need lines. Like I'm jumping right into the line art. We need to tighten some of this up here. It's a little loosey. All right, let's save it up here. So we're going to go Golden Tiger. Final. Boom. Oh, dude, you need to check out Ironsworn. Ironsworn is insane. Like, okay, sorry guys, we're just gonna I'm gonna just deviate as I usually do here before we get into the drawing. Make you guys wait even more, right? Like, come on, John, just draw. I can't draw and talk. Okay, so super quickly, I got into tabletop role-playing games. Like, I'll just say Dungeons and Dragons. Once I found out you're able to do it solo. I know that sounds insane. Check it out. It might be something you're interested in, okay? I can highly recommend it. Played a bunch. Little bit of overhead, you got to keep track of a lot of numbers and stuff like that. Still cool. I had like a little bit of minis out, but I had a blast. I had some of the most fun I've ever had playing Dungeons and Dragons. As I was checking things out, apparently there's a gigantic genre of tabletop RPGs. And my little naive brain didn't know all of them. So all of a sudden I was just getting blasted with like all kinds of content. I was like, holy smokes, this is nuts. Sorry about that. And then I stumbled upon, not that I stumbled upon it. I saw a game called Ironsworn popping up all the time. And I was just like, what the hell is this? Why does it keep coming up? But I'm kind of like a purist, right? So like, if I'm going to play something, I don't like it when there's fan fiction made of it or something. Usually I like to just, like if it's Dungeons & Dragons, I just want to play Dungeons & Dragons. I don't want to play a version somebody made, blah, 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 right? But in the solo community, apparently Ironsworn just kept coming up. And it's free. It's got a whole thing you can check online. It's free. Just check it out. So I checked it out. Looked pretty simple. There's not a lot of dice rolling, and it's very narrative driven, right? And I'm like, that's some of the fun, just rolling dice. But the part that tickled me so, was the fact that, and I hadn't realized this, even though I just told you guys this, that when they say narrative, you know what? As somebody that likes comics, like making my own or my own storytelling kind of stuff and blah, 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 this is cool. Okay, I guess I do like it a little bit more than I thought I would. And so you just start messing around. And what they mean by narrative is like, it's always up to you to sort of drive the story based on events or things that you might encounter. And the dice rolling is super simple. It really is. It's not like a lot of stats. And that's one of the things I didn't really necessarily like about not just Dungeons and Dragons, but playing solo D&D, is that like there's a bajillion skill checks or stuff, and it can be fun. But the thing with the Ironsworn stuff is that it's not necessary. It's just sort of like it's a thing you can do, but you don't have to do it. And the narrative part is it keeps the story going. And they do this really interesting thing. And I realize some of you guys are just be like, shut up, man. Like this is not that cool. But they do this awesome thing where it's like you keep progress tracks Okay, so everything you're doing is you're slowly building towards a finale, and it's sort of up to you to determine how it goes. And it might sound like, well, like, and to be fair, when I was playing my solo D&D stuff, I want to know, like, I don't want to know a lot of things. I want surprises, right? And that makes it memorable. Like any movie or show you've ever watched, you really, okay, this hand is getting out of hand. This hand's getting out of hand. There you go. You heard it today. But you need surprises. It's what makes something interesting. If you can solve everything before it happens, there's no memorable twist, right? And dice rolling definitely allows that to happen. It leaves a lot of chance open, and the narrative part just strings it together so well, so well. And so, like a progress track, right? Like, I'll just give you guys a quick example. Let's say here, let's just say we'll do the simple thing. It's like fight goblin, okay? And I should say the book comes with a world that's, and you can always adjust all of it. You get to choose a lot of things, like ask a lot of questions before you get in there. Like, is magic even in your story? Does magic exist? Are elves a thing? You guys are all basically coming to, if you guys ever played Skyrim, it's kind of like Skyrim. So it's like this alien place that's not really habitable, so it's very dark. Not like blood and guts all the time, but you get to choose, right? So let's just say you come up to a part in the story where you're going to fight a goblin. So you get to choose. There's like difficulty levels. You're like, is it an easy fight? Is it an epic fight? Is it somewhere in the middle? You don't know. It could be a 50-50. It could be yes, could be no. You make a dice roll. It determines it. Let's just say it's easy, okay? Everything has like 10 squares. I'm not going to draw 10 squares. Those all look like the letter D, but just assume they're squares. And as you're making dice rolls, depending on what you get, you start making progress ticks. Okay? And eventually you get to a point where, let's just say it's here, you could try to close it or end the fight or end the quest. And you make a dice roll based on the progress you make, and then you get a result. It might end horribly. It might end perfectly. That kind of thing for a solo play, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes, it's free, Euro. I definitely check it out. If you guys are interested, check out a YouTube channel called Me, Myself, and Die. It's phenomenal. The guy plays it in season 2. Very, very good stuff. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the D&D movie? 0. You cannot keep... Oh, the dick tail coming up here? Don't worry, we'll fix it. We'll fix it. So we want some cool hand here. I think what we're going to do with the hand, I always like this. I think I even saw, I guess we'll just say Jack Kirby, because everything's Jack Kirby, but like, let's say you do Black Panther, right? And you do a really cool hand. You just do this. He might not have been the guy to do this, but I see it and I love it. So, like, you can do a claw. And, it's like a big nail, but he gives Black Panther like this. I love that. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't look scary at all. It's like, it's a perfectly trimmed, nail. It looks beautiful. But, like, I don't know. I like it. Like, in this guy, I'm giving him claws and stuff, but I might just end up giving him fingers with, like, that little design thing in there. I don't know. We'll see when we get to it. Okay, so here's the fun stuff. This is the stuff that I'm really loving about this. So we got our hand. We need to connect it, right? So I know the shoulder's going to be somewhere here, and I kind of have this going here. Now, I've said this before too, the Bruce Timm stuff I sort of talked about, where he just does like, 2 lines. Boom, you're done. I love it. It just adds so much motion to it and power. But sometimes, like, I want to adjust some things. I don't want to I don't want to say steal, but, like, not everything I'm doing is just because of other people, right? Like, there are some creative decisions I want to make. That sounds awful. That sounds like I have no control over this. But, again, remember that little bracelet I was talking about? So I put that bracelet in, for the wrist, and I think we're just going to go straight into boom, just like that. But I need some muscle, man. You guys know me. My characters need some muscle. But that could work. Maybe we'll just puff this up over here. That. How's that look? Do you see the Bruce Timm I'm talking about? Man, one thing I'll give Bruce Timm that he gave me. One thing I'll give him that he gave me. Why you coach him, not me? Is he showed me that the rendering that Kirby does, besides it being magical sauce, is like animation. It's all about motion, right? So you want as much movement as possible in your piece. Inside here can be just open for color and all that, right? But, and this doesn't matter, right? Like, you could do proper anatomy in here. But check this out, right? So, and you guys will see, this is the funnest stuff for me. His shoulder has to be somewhere in here. And like, okay, so we've got like an elbow, right? But like, where's the bicep and the shoulder? Well, like, boom. Okay, well, there's a line that just made a shoulder. Can you guys see the shoulder? It's like here somewhere now, right? So maybe, I don't know, let's put it in. Boom. But we're still using that same line, that what's a good word for that? Like the contour line, right? I want a round bicep. Boom. Just put it in. How about a tricep? Boom. Let's get that in there. All right, let's put some Kirby rendering down there. Just another one of these, because why not? Now we know there's a whole bunch of like muscles down here, right? So let's just put them in. Put that Kirby set. Do you guys see how cool that looks? That's sick, man. Like, so that's why I get so excited about this stuff, because it's giving me expressive language that I can't, not that I can't and that I don't, but that I wasn't able to get when I draw like what we were just drawing, where, you know, I need to know where a shoulder is in here because the bicep falls in here. That's a lot. That's a lot of information. Doesn't matter. All that you're going to care about is the action here, right? What's the story? What's the image? That's all that matters. That's why I love this stuff. So I'm actually going to keep that in there. Yeah, that's sweet. And you see how, like, even this line right here, let me see if I erase that. You see how I just connected that? How I was shaping it? And I think it's fine, right? Like, you kind of go in here. Like, there's nothing wrong there. But if you make that straight, ooh-wee, look at that. And this line can carry you all the way over here. Man, that's some good stuff. But the way that I've been drawing this stuff, right, is I have this Ryu Kirby line, I call it. I could just use the inking. This would be like more of the Bruce Timm style, like that, right? I'm not confident with that yet, but I also like just using this line, this chunky line in here, and then we go over it with the ink over top. But anyway, I'm jumping all over the place with you guys. All right. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I sadly don't have the time for solo RPGs these days. No problem, man. Trust me. I hear you. I just got the Tainted Grail. Oh man, the board game, right? Yeah. Is there a board game, the Tainted Grail? With like cards you flip over? Pretty sure. Dude, so I'll stop gushing. Well, I hope I'll. So Ironsworn, right now they're beta testing. I think at the end of this year. I think they're even going to go to Kickstarter, which is okay. Called is it Starforge? It's basically Ironsworn in space. I'm very excited about that. Just the idea of being by myself in my head, exploring the cosmos. Sure, let's do it. Let's have fun. Lars, talking about Bruce Timm and being excited for stuff. The Batman the Animated Series revival. I'm super happy. I hadn't even heard about that. I'll have to check that out. I got into Bruce Timm very late. I've seen a whole bunch of people draw like Bruce Timm. It's this that they draw, and I'm not blaming anybody for doing it. Do what you gotta do, right? Where it's, you know, somebody standing here, give them the arm, and you'll shoot this out like this. Somewhere around here, right? You get your legs, but they got the giant chest. Why does this keep dying? I don't know if you guys can hear me right now. It's saying no data. Let me see here. Is it coming back? It's green. It's green again. What is going on? My internet, apparently, we switched to like this wireless, yeah? And it's got to be what's causing this problem here, man. My PC and wireless is not doing good. Anyway, but yeah, it's this classic, you'll always draw them this way and then they'll be looking at you. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, like I'm taking parts of that as well. I would say that the part that what opened my eyes to it was, honestly, I was looking on Pinterest. Highly recommend you guys check out Pinterest. It's like a treasure trove of like, I don't want to say hidden, but it's just got some really good stuff. And I was on there looking up Kirby stuff because that's where I was able to find like his pencils. Because the pencils, if you can find pencils of somebody's work, that's where you're gonna start finding all the secret sauce, man. Because the pencil, like you can always ink and change how something looks. Pencils, that's the open for interpretation. And honestly, that's how I learned how to do Kirby Crackle. In my that I interpret it in the way that I like it. Again, I said I don't like Kirby brushes. I get why they exist. I just don't like the way they look. They look like a Kirby brush. I like having the creative freedom to use the Kirby dots for composition and power and stuff like that. At least that's the way I feel when I use it. I'm not saying you have to do that. Just for me, okay? But through there, all of a sudden, Bruce Timm started showing up, and I was just like, why is this stuff showing up? And I was seeing like what I was just sending you guys, the Batman pictures and stuff. Why are they here? And then I started seeing some stuff he was drawing where it looked like he was just riffing on Kirby. You know, like whoa, he's doing this stuff, this weird anatomy. Wow, how's he doing it? And then it opened my eyes. It just blew everything open where I was like, holy shit. Okay, I could draw any way I want and just put the rendering inside. So my mindset when I was drawing, or when I draw, has always been like, okay, here's the structure. Here's the ribs, right? Here's the arms coming down, shoulders somewhere here. Do you see how I'm building things up? Or cylinders, right? You guys know I always talk about cylinders. That's all great. And then here's the pec. But when I go to ink that, when I go to draw that, I need to make sure that the shoulders are where they are. You don't need to do that with Kirby. Kirby gives you power. He doesn't take away, he gives. So using the same example, right? I could start going like, okay, so here's a shoulder, right, and some arm. Maybe I want to put a little cut in there. Doesn't matter, right? You just need the shape. It doesn't have to be all Bruce Timm kind of stuff, right? And you can put in as much as you want. You don't gotta be afraid of anything. And then when you go ahead and you do the inks can do all those line art for you, right? But you can just get the power. Like, what do you want? What do you want? I want like power coming from here down to the arm or whatever. Just go ahead, get it in there, man. You know, like, okay, there's, I guess, or not even that I guess, but that's where I want the bicep to be, and I want to have some shoulder stuff in here, maybe, you know, just get the power in there. Anyway, so he was showing me that you could do stuff with just the idea of where it could be. The mind will figure it out. The mind is beautiful, and it's the same thing as like Mike Mignola. I was looking at his stuff, right? He's just doing shapes, man. It's all shapes. And once I started to look at the shapes again, it was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. This is what I've been missing the whole time. I've been too focused on proper anatomy for me. And if you're into that stuff, God bless. You know, go have fun. Art is art. Do what you want to do. But for me, it was, I just want to be able to have excitement and power in it. And if making an unbelievable shape believable works, then who cares? Then I'm doing what makes me happy with the art, right? And if the best part is if people look at it and they don't mind it, oh, all right, it's lagging a bit. Okay, I imagine it's going to. There's nothing I can do. The bit rate is like normal, and I'm getting what I get. Show how you do Kirby Crackle, please. Sure, I'd love to. Okay, we'll make a new one. So what I've normally been doing, so there's man, we should do a whole video on this, eh? Okay, I'm going to just use it the way I use it with these big fat brushes, okay? So let's say we've got like a fist, right? We want to do the fist of power. And we'll do the typical, right? Like it's got the energy, the light, right? So when I was doing Kirby dots, or when I first started doing it, I always thought it was, you know, like, okay, so you just put dots anywhere. And this is just how I interpret it. There's many interpretations. It's negative space as well as composition and where you want the eye to go, right? So like if I want to put, what I'm drawing now is just like the white. Weird as that might sound, like this. Yeah, that might be cool, right? I'll just erase this. So that's all the white. What I need, though, is the white doesn't show up that well. You need like a contrast. You need like a different shape. Something that helped me realize this. Let me get a little bit more artsy fartsy with you guys here, okay? So let's say we're gonna draw with white, and then I'm going to put not a layer color, a background color. We're gonna do like lightning, okay? Like a lightning you might draw in like Photoshop. We'll say you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Let's get extra large, right? So we're going to do Thor's lightning. Bzzz, crackling. There we go. Cool. Let me just thicken that up. Right? It's got this cool lightning effect. that works. But this is like the Kirby crackle that I was talking, or the way that it made it make sense for me. So if I go up there now, if I add like an airbrush, we'll say, right? Oops. And I'm going outside here. Now it's starting to pop. Do you see that? Now it's starting to feel like I can see the lightning more. It's starting to show more like it's more light. Here it's flat still with just like an outline. But how's a better way of explaining it? If you want like a bright effect of white, it's got to be the best contrast it'll ever have is a background of black, the opposite. Gray works too, right? But even if we want darker, check this out, right? It's going to look better. Arguably, that color might not look that great, right? But once you get to black, that's when it's going to look its best. And best here, I'm using subjective here because I'm trying to be quick. But like if we were just to like block all that out with black, oops. Now you can see it more, right? And if you wanted to add you can't necessarily do this with what we're going to be doing, but with the black background, right? Now if I go ahead and I add, like that gradient, now it's starting to feel more like there's light coming out of it, right? So once you realize that, like that's how an easy way to communicate light and darkness, especially with energy effects. Kirby's no way, no way, no different. That's all we have to do. That's what the Kirby crackle is you have to start putting in the black. So what I'll do, for me anyway, is now I just need to figure out where we're going to put our black shapes, right? So you could start putting in your little Kirby dots around here like this, right? We're just going to put little chunky shapes for now. And you get to determine how much black is going there. And this takes practice. This is still something I'm learning. I could even come in here a little bit, make it a little bit tighter on this side, and then we're just going to fill that in. Oops. And we should probably put some in here too. Right? So now I have control of your eye, hopefully, right? Now you can't look anywhere but where that white is. Now this is where the magic of the Kirby dots come in, right? Because we haven't done anything with dots yet. So the Kirby dots, all you're doing is, I used to go like this. Okay, so now that means, because the brushes I would use, they would do dots like this, right? And I was doing the outside of them. That's not what you want to do. At least not what I want to do. What you want to do is, you can do this so that see how these outside shapes can kind of look like clouds? You can kind of break them up a bit, as if you actually put the Kirby dots inside the white. That's where things get crazy town. And you can actually start changing the shape of it, right? So watch. If I go in here, do you see now your eye goes like this? Like it moves around that black shape. If I come in like that, now it's like getting tight and then it comes back out. So I get to like kind of manipulate this shape into making some cool like designs. So when I'm putting these dots in here, what I'm looking at actually is, what is this new white shape that it's leaving behind? Do you see what I'm saying there? Does that make sense to you? And you don't have to go as drastic as that. You can just kind of come in here, and what it does is it starts making it almost look like flames a little bit. And you can still do some crazy shapes like up here too, right? And trust me, once you start adding color in there, boom, great stuff. Another thing you can do is with fire, right? So with fire, let's just say, I think he used to do is like flames kind of like this a little bit, right? But fire, again, like that doesn't look like anything at all, right? What you do is you just do the same thing. I need to know where, like, imagine this was smoke, right? Like, because fire. And that's really how you start thinking of it, is you can even do your Kirby dots like as fire out here, right? Like I want to have some fire effects and have fun with this, man. Like it takes practice for sure, because then once you start doing this a little bit more, you know what you're going to expect once you start dumping in the black. You see now it looks like there's weight going off over there. And then if you want, you could go, okay, well I want some, like some smoke. Because who doesn't like smoke when you got fire, right? So go there. But now this is where, if you guys ever looked at like Mike Mignola, like Hellboy, that's where this starts to you know, I highly recommend checking his stuff out too, because now you can't help it. Your eye is forced to see clouds right now, because all I'm doing is using white and black. You see probably a cloud here, cloud there. If you want to get into the spicy Kirby stuff, right, then you could start going into like some of the stuff he does. And I'm still working on this one. Is where you start putting. I'll just go quick here. You got to go thick to thin here. Where you start putting in like this stuff, right? And I'm going quick here, so I apologize that it doesn't look great. But this is where you start getting that motion in there, right? And hopefully you guys will see this more in the stuff I'm doing. I want to start adding more of that, because right now I'm using Kirby dots, but I feel like it's the only tool in my toolbox. But anyway, yeah, so you go ahead, definitely start adding the Kirby dots into the fire too, with this flame. And if you don't trust me, right, so cool, we got this, right? You can put some over here, some dots, some dotty dots, right? Why not? This is like, this could be, think of these as like, I don't know, little debris kind of going around there. Oh, this internet, man. There we go. I feel like this internet's going to dip and come back from time to time. So I apologize how much I'm getting cut off. The fire is fire. I like I like it. But check this out, right? So I'm just going to merge all this together. I'm not going to do a full color here, but this is, to me, the power of using like just these the color flats. I also have a color wheel, this little paper, you guys can't see it, but I bought this painted color wheel. It was like $5 or something. I just like having it. It's similar to the color wheel that comes with Clip Studio, but I just like having this. So I'm looking, I want this to be fire, right? So fire is red and yellow. The opposite we're going to go with is blue. So we want a blue background. It's just super simple here. So we'll go blue background, but I'm not going to go like, we're not doing that, right? We want it to be desaturated, because the fire is pure saturation. It's light. It's the closest thing going to white. So we need something desaturated and gray. So what I like to do with these Kirby colors, everything's Kirby, eh? I want blue, but I want it over here somewhere. So if we go down here, if you look, it's still getting hot. We need that to be cold, like down here, right? It's the opposite. So like that might even work. That looks pretty good, but maybe a little darker. If we can find something, I mean, even gray might work for this example. That's a problem with a lot of these older colors too. Like when they get desaturated, they don't really, there's a certain level that they hit. It's kind of difficult to work here. You know what? Maybe we'll just go with gray. Screw it. We'll just go with gray. That's the option we have. And then so from here, I like to work from dark to light. So let's just go boom. Let's get stupid. Let's get is it this one? One of these ones is pure red. Sure. Cool. Let me just fill this in. Boom, right? And then I'm going to also put in the smoke. Just like that. And I love color like this, you guys. Not just the look of it, but like, and not even necessarily how simple it is, but it just, I don't know, it just frees up my brain. Just like work simple. I don't know. It just, right now I'm just in a good place with all this stuff. And thank you, honestly, to those that are digging this as well, because it is of the support that definitely helps. You know, sometimes when you can start making drastic creative decisions with like how your stuff looks, it can be like, am I making the right call? You know, even though I really shouldn't worry about it. But I'm just gonna put a little bit of white in here just to make it super hot, right? And then the clouds, I don't want the clouds to be red. You know what I mean? So what we'll do is we want that to be maybe that's going to the purple, because we want it to go this way, right? We want it to go back down to cold. So maybe we just start going like, I don't know. This is where you really got to play with it. Let's just fill it in and see how this looks. Might work. I think maybe we can go a little darker, maybe. Yeah, let's do that. That's not bad. This one's gonna get tricky, and then we'll go here, because what I'm trying to do is make it get, you know, darker. Maybe something like that. I don't know how this looks on my second monitor. On the monitor on my Cintiq that I'm using right now, it's like the old model, so like the colors are a little wacky. But anyway, that's pretty much how I would tackle this stuff. And you see what I'm saying? How quick this kind of, maybe it's not quick. Maybe I'm used to it. Does it make sense to you guys? Even with all the lag? I need to do a video on this. I really should. Or maybe I'll just clip this part and post it. We'll see. Okay, now you guys all want to draw? Good. Then man, I want to do a pinup now. Not sure if I'll continue my WandaVision piece or more simple tradition. See, guys, yeah, I'm telling you, man. The old guys, they knew what they were doing. Have you ever seen Slayer live? I have not. I have never been to a concert live. Maybe that's not true. There was like a local festival, but not like an actual metal concert. Anyway, I hope this helped you guys here. Let's try to get back to drawing our pictures. Okay? Whoops. What was I going to say? It was something about the old guys. They had it right. Damn it. Get over here. There we go. Where my head was going, where I was trying to go with the simplicity thing is like, you remember when I was drawing that Captain America boot, where pages take longer than they need to? For some people, not everybody. I'm definitely going to need a reference here for this tiger face, by the way, guys. I'm not going to try to pretend to know how to draw animal heads here. Do I have a profile picture? Okay, we're going to have to look for a profile picture. I'll be doing that on the side. But, so like, the old guys, the simplicity, maybe it's just I get my detail and all that kind of work in other things like video games and stuff. When I sit down to draw, and time definitely has something to play with this, being able to just do simple stuff is refreshing. Maybe that's just what it is right now. It's just, that's what I need. And I'm able to get something out pretty quick just by doing that stuff. Super simple, you know? So, and I totally get why people might look at it and, you know, because I look at other people that draw in a simpler, older style or whatever, and maybe I might not think, I don't want to say that they're not good, because it's not the not the right way of saying something, but it's like, it's just something that I'm not interested in, because I would be looking at something that's a little bit more detailed and going, okay, that's, air quotes here, better art, even though that's not true. Or maybe it is true, just not for that time. I don't know. I'm all over the place. This is great. Love the way you pulled techniques and made it your own. Gives me lots. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Glad it helps you out. Lars, by the way, I'm totally ripping you off. I'm still teaching online, and whenever there's a silence, I do drum solos in my mouth like you. Listen to Meshuggah Bleed. There's your drum solo for you, buddy. I'm just trying to find this one book for you guys. This book helped me tremendously. Jack Kirby, Pencils and Inks, Artist Edition. I don't know what I paid for this. I'm not about to, I'm not trying to say it's $1 bajillion. I don't know. But it's this book here. It's pretty big. It's bigger than a comic book page. Maybe like those Artist Edition comic books. I don't know. What I wanted it for, though, is not necessarily the inking. I don't care necessarily about that. It's cool. Here, let me just post this in the chat. At least you guys can take a look at it if you want. But it's this. This is the stuff I'm talking about. Oh, you can't really see it. But do you see on the left here? And this might get compressed to all hell for you guys. On the right, we got a tremendous amount of Kirby dots for this fire. That's great. But I want to know how he did it. This is what the inker did to it, which is cool. Looks great. But what did Jack do? How did he figure this stuff out? And it wasn't until looking, and you can't even really see it here. I don't even know if you'll see it in any of these pictures, so I'm not going to bother looking. But, oh, actually right here. You might see it. I hope your guys' monitor picks it up. In here, you'll see, like right here, there's pencil drawing. And that pencil is the outline of where his Kirby dots would go, like what I just showed you. That changed everything for me. Because once I saw he was basically kind of like what you do with anatomy. When you draw anatomy, you put in your roughs, and then you go in and you put in your thing. I, for whatever reason, never would have thought of that. And it really is kind of like, I'll even bring it back to Bruce Timm, or even something I've told you guys, and I just never really put it together, which was to say that, everything has a shape, and you can boil it down to its most simple form. So when you draw the human anatomy, you don't just draw the rib cage and then, all the specifics. You need to know the volume. Like, what is a simple shape of that? Is it a cone? Is it a sphere? That crap. It applies to literally everything. And I think when it comes to things like special effects, like Kirby dots, I I was just so interested in how he did it, or that how it looked, than to think, wow, how did he actually create that? This is the greasy part of me right now, guys. I'm thinking of actually just drawing over this. I think I'm going to cheese this here. So if this makes you think less than me, I apologize. I'm a human being. I'm just going to riff off of this here. So we're going to get some, actually here, let's get some cool shapes here. We will adjust some of this. So he looks like he's yawning, which is fine. And I need to look at the reference he has because I don't know exactly all the design that he has. I'm going to stick the tongue out, I think. Maybe. We'll see. Got some teeth here. But we're going to want his eyes open so we can get like some cool, whatever. And I've got cats, and they have their ears back like this, and they go getting all cat form. I'm just going to put some squigglies here for that, and I got to see the actual design that he had for that. Okay, we'll turn that off. We'll bring this back down, and let's take a look. Let's put all this here. I'm just going to turn this red, and we're going to turn that off, just so I can kind of see what's going on. Lars, I think I've told you this before, but I totally think you should be teaching art. I'm not really into Kirby, but I learned so much listening to you, and it doesn't matter. Well, thanks, dude. Teaching's cool. Teaching's, I just don't know what like teaching art would be for like a job. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard a lot of people that are teachers, and it's just like, you struggle so much. You know what it is? I think day jobs, the problem and the benefit of them is like they potentially take that stress away of losing your job, which I know doesn't make a lot of sense because you can lose your job anywhere. It doesn't necessarily matter the field. I'm always scared. Like, even, I'll be honest with you guys, like, even though, I'm a art director, creative director, which is just a fancy word of saying I'm the only artist on staff. Like, I'm always scared that I'm going to lose my job. And it's so weird. It's like, the more closer I get to just an art job, the fear is always there that it's not going to stay. It's not stable. But if I was a cashier somewhere, or if I was at a factory, I wouldn't feel that as much. At least I don't remember ever really feeling that. Like, I never had a fear of being fired from a job for the most part. Very weird. Anybody else feel that way? Not sure about this head. What I might do is just, maybe I can carry, I don't know if he's starting to look less cat-like. Maybe I slicked him up too much. If we give him some fur. Maybe he needs a second ear. Or you know what? Maybe I drew him too close to reality. All right, let's get rid of this tongue. And we're going to do this. There we go. I feel like that's a little bit better. Do we give him a mane? Now he's going to start feeling like a lion. Not a lion, he's a tiger. Kind of want to just get this straight line. I like that line. It's like that. Holy shit. Look at that. Woo! Look at that. Look at that line. Are you kidding me? That's great. You know when you just hit something in your art sometimes? Oh, I hope you guys experience that. That's great stuff. That line right there just makes this whole thing come together. That's gas. I'm going to put all of his patterns in when, like, on his face, all the cat patterns, when we get to it. When we do our line art. Do we put the tongue out? I think we put the tongue out, right? Tongue makes him feel more. feral. Do you do the spit? Yeah, you do the spit. You do the spit. And what else are we missing here, guys? I'm pretty sure that's the whole costume right there. Very simple costume. Thank God. Okay, let's crank that back up. We're going to erase all this. And we are going to put in a costume. Then we can start the line art. And I'm looking at the time, and I really should be going soon. I'm just waiting for my fiance to get home so that I can take time off. Great line. All right. Mutt knows what I'm talking about. All right, so it looks like he's wearing... Like, this artist already obviously drew him skin tight everything, as you should. So we're going to give him this with some tiger patterns on it, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we'll put the hint of it over there. I don't want to lose these lines that we got here, right? So this is the tricky part. This is the tricky part. Oops. Let's get you out of my way here. Let's get like a... He needs a belt. So the belt's going to go here. These belt shapes and stuff, right? Like, they always help ground your volumes, right? Like, because I'm rounding these things out, it makes it feel like there's some volume in there. You know what I mean? So we'll go here with this, I guess. Not too confident on these ones. And then he's got like these, I was going to say ribbons. Put them there. And I think we're just going to bring this all the way down. No, where's it going to stop? I don't know where the chest is on this guy. This is the problem. This is the reference of the costume you get. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see. Maybe we're just going to open it up here. Maybe it's like something like this. Just going to make a creative decision and go, yeah. That's what we're doing. Just like that. Okay, so we got all that action. Let's bring up our initial rough. So we're going to have some, whoops, what the hell am I drawing with there? Going to have some trees and some leaves and some grasses. All right. Now, the sad part is oh, we need a tail too. There's no Kirby dots. Gotta have Kirby dots, right? How do we get Kirby dots in here? Is it the sun? Are we gonna put it on the sun? I guess we are. Okay, so check it out, guys. So this is what I'm doing with this one. So I'm trying to move your eye around here a little bit. And I want it to fade off here. So we're going to go... How do we fade that off here? So I'm going to go like this. And this will change probably once we get into the line art. This is just like, hey, John, don't forget about this. All right, so go here. Maybe... again, I don't know if we'll keep this. But it's good to have it in here. I think Kirby also did like this sometimes with planets. Let's not do that. So we'll go to Kirby. And again, I'm just going to go here like this to try to make it fade away a little bit. Is it better with just the black up there? Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't even really matter where he is, right? Like, in my mind, I was thinking it's like Africa or something because that's where, tigers are and stuff. But really, it can be anywhere kind of like that. Anywhere that's kind of like Africa. What I mean to say is, like, it doesn't have to be based in reality. I don't really know much about this character. Okay, so I want to make sure that there's some clean areas here, right? Like, I don't want to start putting grass in here because it's going to start busying up that hand. So we're going to keep, like, the grass all over here. That's fine. I want that hand to stay very... Look at that. Look at that line. Oh, my God. This is great. Maybe what I'll do is... Maybe we'll put some grass overlapping just so we get some... What's a good thing to do... I don't want to lose these lines, so... But at the same time, when you start putting in like that, right, like this big fat line that'll go over top, it just makes the piece feel a little bit more 3D, which is always good. And this also forces your eye to kind of look around, But the tail, maybe we'll bring it over here, something like that. I think this is a banger, guys. This is it. Whew. Look at that. This is going to be fun to do. What do you think? Think we got there? I think we got there. I'll say Art 87 because I don't know if it's Ardenea. Thank you. I do appreciate the support there. What time? She's got her appointment coming up. Let me just send a quick text here, you guys. Pardon me. See, I got to stop looking at this thing because what I'm thinking is, you know how I was saying, I always call it the Bruce Timm line. I'll just call it that, whatever. But the Bruce Timm line, like I can already see from his nose all the way down to his elbow, which is just disgustingly awesome. When I do that with the way I traditionally work with just the line art, the Ryu Kirby line, I feel like if I use my Ryu Kirby ink brush, I can get that thin from the nose all the way down to the elbow as a nice thick line at the bottom. That's going to give this some power that just doing the line art might not do. What I might do, you know what, we're going to try a little experiment. Why not? Sometimes, for better or worse, I like doing some experiments with people's commission, which I don't mean that in a mean way, because I want to make sure I'm giving people what they expected they might get. I don't want to go so far outside the box, but this might be a really good opportunity to try something. And I'll show you what I mean. One of the older styles I used to draw in as well when we were doing our big trying to find our voice and what we wanted to do is let me bring up, it was like a Green Goblin drawing. Where are you, Green Goblin? Not in here, are you? Sneaky, sneaky guy. Okay. Maybe just in my art folder. Green. There he is. Green Goblin. Okay. This is so fun to look at, too. Okay, so what I was doing with this is this, where I start off with the contour line. Let me put the roughs in here so you can kind of, doesn't really matter. But you start off with the contour. Yeah, it does matter because you guys can get a little bit more context as what the hell I can see. So this is sort of what we're looking at, right? So if I, actually here, we'll just turn it red. Oh my God. I don't know what that blue is, but when you turn it down, I'm looking for the contour shape so I can get my thin to thick lines, right? Then in this version, I would add like the heavy blacks and stuff. Then you go on with the finest brush, which would be like a micron, and you do all your details. And then you just start doing some like special effects and blah, blah, blah. Whatever else you need to do, right? I'm thinking maybe it's time to try that with this. Whoops, not that. This one. Maybe this is what we're going to do. I think that's what we're going to try doing with this one. Because the hesitation, and I'm just sharing this with you guys because this is the stuff, you know what I mean? You guys might dig it because you guys might be going through this stuff too. But working this way, I did do some comic book work with this. Let me see if I can pull that up. Which book was that? That was... Oh, well, give me a second here to try to think what that was. It was... I don't know if it was Rusty King. Okay, well, while I try to find this, the problem that came with, it's weird. Doing pinups is one thing. Doing the same style in comics, for me, I find totally different. And the problem that I was finding when I was doing it with the comics was that the line weights can get out of hand. Most likely because I'm not that controlled with it, I guess. But they did go fast. Oh no! Sorry, it was Galaxies in Peril. I did that on a couple pages. Here, let me try to find that. We'll go inks. Geez. Which one did we do that with? I think we did it with a lot of them. This one? Let me try opening this one. Yeah. Okay, so here. So I'll turn off the text, and you'll see it with this guy in particular, too. Oh my god. All right, there's a bajillion layers here because I have no control. So you see what I'm saying? So it's a thick outline, and really, this was like just a way to speed things up, but to get the important lines. It's very tricky to work this way, and I mean, for you guys, it might be simple if you guys come from like a traditional way of working where you do pencils and then ink over top. If you saw what we just did before, I like just doing tight line art, then almost going the opposite direction, going with the thinnest line, working all the way to the thickest line, where this is going from the thickest to the thinnest. But then I'm able to just go in there and like add this sort of stuff at the same time where you're adding in the detail, and it becomes like a totally different drawing when you do this, right? And then there's all the final detail in there. And it's very fast. There's not much, going on. Same thing with this. Just do all your outline and then boom, put in your shadow and your lines, and you're pretty much done. Let me see, what's the next one? I think we're gonna, yeah. See, look, you can, and there is a rough drawing you guys can't see. I don't have it turned on. I'm not just winging this, but so you have here, and then put in the shadows, and then all that tight line work. It's same thing with all of these, but it felt very loose because I'm not used to it. When I work with the small micron, we'll say, all the way up to the thin, thick lines, like this feels so loose and like out of control. It's like scary to work with. But once we got the shadow, I feel like it grounds it. Like now we got the weight to it, and now when we get the tight line, it starts feeling like, okay, we got control again. Because really, normally I would work like this. Just imagine it would look something like this, and then I would add the inks over top. I feel like I'm in control the whole time. When it's not that, it's, oh boy, it's the Wild West, my friends. Mecha Art, welcome. How are you? I think you're getting in right at the tail end here. Okay, so I just got the text now, so I'm going to start wrapping this up, you guys. Thank you for showing up. I really do appreciate everybody, and the discussion has been awesome. Just so you guys know, I will be resuming the stream, I would say probably in a couple hours. We are going to wrap up this. This will be a lot of fun. And we are going to try what I was just rambling about back there, of doing the contour lines and then going from big to small. Which, to be honest, makes a lot more sense just because it's... The one thing, even though I was saying I was scared doing it before there, is it speeds things up because you're forced to focus on what's most important. When you do work super small and then big, you can lose yourself in working on needless details that don't matter. I'm fully aware of that. It's more of a comfort thing. So we'll all break out of our comfort shell. But yeah, in a couple hours we'll come back. We'll finish this up. We're going right to colors. So, similar to like what we were doing with this, you guys will see how I work through that. If you can't make it, that's cool too. All these will still be up on YouTube. You just got to scroll through. Sorry for that. But yeah, the last update, in case you're not coming back, like I said, is I'm hoping to stream every Friday. So every other Friday. So not this Friday coming up, but the Friday after that will be similar to this one, where a good chunk of the time is streaming. Okay. But we'll see how it goes. I don't want to commit to anything just yet. Life is still a chaotic mess. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon. And thank you again. I do appreciate it. All the kind words today and all the support. You guys are the best. And I will talk to you guys when I see you next. So until next time, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.